The iron Requiem groaned as its magnetic clamps latched onto the drifting hulk of the Zenari cruiser. Through the forward viewport, Captain Elias Ward studied the broken vessel, its hull scored with plasma burns, whole decks gutted open to the void. It looked less like a ship and more like a corpse left to rot between the stars. "Lock's good," his first mate, Juno, reported from the console. "Stable enough for boarding. Assuming nothing decides to explode inside." Elias strapped on his helmet, his jaws set. Salvaging Zenari wrecks was dangerous, bordering on suicidal, but credits were running thin and the crew needed a haul. "Then we go in," he said, voice clipped. Minutes later, the airlock hissed open and cold darkness swallowed him. His boots clicked against fractured decking as he stepped into the cruiser. The smell hit him first: burnt metal, stale air, a faint tang of alien oils. His headlamp swept across curving walls etched with faint silver glyphs, Zenari script alive with a shimmer that pulsed like veins. "Creepy as hell," Juno muttered over comms. "No power, no heat signatures. She's dead." Elias wasn't convinced. Something about the silence pressed on him, heavy and deliberate. He raised his rifle, sweeping corners as he advanced deeper into the wreck. The deeper they went, the stronger the sense of being watched became. Shadows seemed to twitch at the edge of his light. A faint hum vibrated through the soles of his boots, subtle, almost imagined. Then he found it. A stasis pod, wedged against the collapsed bulkhead, its casing cracked but still faintly glowing. Inside lay a figure. Not fully Zenari. Not fully human. Something between. The girl's skin was pale, with a faint iridescent sheen like oil on water. Her hair clung damply to her face, silver streaks glowing faintly in the dark. Her eyes snapped open the moment his lamp hit her, pupils dilated, glowing like embers under ash. She pressed a hand weakly against the pod's glass. And then, through the comms, her voice, hoarse, trembling, but desperate. "I need that thing between your legs again, human." Elias froze. "The hell?" Her lips moved, struggling to form the words, repeating them with more urgency. "I need it. Please. Between your legs, again." Juno snorted nervously. "Either she's insane, or she skipped a few lessons in translation software." Elias's gut twisted. Whatever she meant, it wasn't what it sounded like. The way she trembled, the way her voice cracked, it wasn't lust, it was survival. He glanced at the life signs flickering faintly on his wrist display. Her vitals were crashing. He slammed a palm against the pod's release. The glass hissed open, air venting in a ghostly sigh. The girl half fell into his arms, her body frighteningly light. Her skin was fever-hot, her breathing shallow. Her eyes locked onto his. She whispered, "You, humans. Your body, your chemistry. I need it." Elias blinked. "Chemistry? What the hell are you talking about?" She pressed her forehead against his chest plate, shuddering. "Without it, I die." Juno shifted uneasily. "Cap, this is way above our pay grade. We drag her aboard. We're painting a target on our backs the size of a dreadnought. Zenari don't lose their toys without a fight." Before Elias could answer, his comms lit up with static. A harsh voice crackled through, the cold, metallic cadence unmistakably Zenari. "Unregistered human vessel. You trespass on sacred ground. Release the corrupted one. Now." The girl flinched at the words, curling tighter against Elias as though hiding. He stared down at her, then back at the shadows around them. The Zenari weren't bluffing, they were already close. "Cap?" Juno's voice was taut. "Orders?" Elias's mind raced. Leave the girl, and they might make it out alive. Take her, and the Zenari would hunt them to the ends of the galaxy. Her hand gripped his armor, trembling with the strength of someone who had nothing left to cling to. "Don't let them take me," she begged, voice breaking. Elias cursed under his breath. "Damn it all!" He scooped her into his arms. "We're taking her. Move!" The corridor shuddered violently, impact tremors. The Zenari had fired a warning shot across the cruiser's hull. Elias ran, his boots pounding against the deck as Juno covered their retreat. The girl clung to him, her breath warm against his neck. They burst back into the iron requiem, slamming the airlock closed as alarms blared. "Detach clamps!" Elias barked. Juno's hands flew across the console. "Clamps clear! Thrusters, go, go, go!" The ship lurched free. A sensor feed lit up the main display, a Zenari hunter craft, sleek and angular, rising from the void like a predator. Its weapons array pulsed ominously. "They've locked onto us," Juno said. Elias strapped into the pilot's chair, the girl strapped into the jump seat beside him. Her gaze was fixed on the looming hunter, terror stark in her eyes. He grit his teeth, hands steady on the controls. "Then let's make them regret it." The iron requiem roared to life, engines screaming as Elias threw it into a hard burn. The ship jolted violently, stars blurring as they veered off course, narrowly dodging the first volley of plasma fire. The hunter gave chase instantly, relentless. "Shields at 60!" Juno shouted. "Not enough," Elias growled. "Hang on!" He yanked the controls, diving through the shredded remains of the derelict cruiser. Wreckage tumbled around them as the hunter's weapons spat fire, explosions lighting the void. Through it all, the girl's voice whispered in his ear, barely audible but burning with desperate conviction. "Without you, I can't survive." The words chilled him more than the enemy fire. Because he could see it in her eyes, it wasn't a plea. It was the truth. The iron requiem punched free of the wreckage, thrusters howling, the hunter still in pursuit. Elias's jaw clenched. This wasn't just salvage anymore. This was war. And it had just landed in his lap. The iron requiem limped away from the shattered cruiser, engines screaming with every thrust. On the medbay cot, the alien girl lay trembling, her skin pale and slick with fever sweat. Elias stood over her, helmet discarded, watching the erratic pulse flicker across the monitor. "Vitals dropping again," Juno said, adjusting the scanner. "Whatever's wrong with her, it's not something our meds can fix." The girl's eyes fluttered open. Her gaze latched onto Elias instantly, as if he were the only anchor in the void. Her lips parted, a rasp of sound escaping. "You!" Elias crouched beside her. "Easy. You're safe here." Her hand shot out, gripping his wrist with startling strength. The instant her skin touched his, the monitor's alarms quieted, her pulse leveling. Color seeped back into her cheeks. She exhaled shakily, clinging as if his presence alone kept her tethered to life. Juno's eyebrows shot up. "Well, that's new." Elias frowned. "What the hell just happened?" The girl's voice came weak but clear. "Human contact. Your body makes compounds. Neurochemistry. My cells learned to need it." "You're saying you're addicted to me?" Elias asked, incredulous. Her glowing pupils contracted, almost ashamed. "Not choice. I was exposed once. Now without it I collapse." Juno whistled low. "That explains the creepy thing between your legs comment. She meant neurotransmitters, not—" "Shut it," Elias muttered. The girl shivered, her voice trembling. "If they take me back, they'll cleanse me. Burn the need out. Erase memory. I won't even know you existed." Her grip tightened, desperation raw in her tone. "Don't let them." Before Elias could respond, the ship jolted. Klaxons wailed through the hull. "Incoming!" Juno shouted, sprinting to the bridge. Elias laid the girl back gently, then ran after him. On the forward display, a Zenari hunter filled the screen, its sleek form cutting through the dark. The sigil of the Confederation glowed blood-red along its prow. A transmission crackled to life. The hologram that bloomed in the cabin made Elias's throat tighten. A towering figure stood cloaked in flowing robes, skin a pale gray etched with ceremonial scars. His eyes glowed like embers. "I am High Prelate Serix," the alien intoned, his voice like steel dragged across stone. "You carry corruption aboard your vessel. Release it, and you may yet leave this place alive." Elias crossed his arms. "You mean the girl?" "She is no girl," Syrinx hissed. She is a desecration. A hybrid tainted by your primitive flesh. Humanity spreads like plague, staining every species it touches. Better she be purged than let your sickness endure. From the medbay, the girl's voice echoed faintly, trembling. Don't answer. They'll track my voice. Elias muted the feed. His jaw clenched. Crew meeting. Now. They gathered in the cramped galley, Juno, Elias, 2 engineers, and the medic. The air was thick with tension. We should hand her over, one engineer argued. We're not equipped to fight a Confederation warship. We've got patch shields and barely enough fuel for a jump. She's one life, the medic added grimly. All of us versus one. Elias leaned against the table, silent, listening. Juno shook her head. She's not cargo. She's proof. The Zenari are terrified of her because she shows what humans can do, change things. Force them to adapt. The engineer scoffed. Change them by making them junkies? Or by making them realize we matter? Juno shot back. You heard her. She didn't just survive contact. She bonded. That scares the hell out of the Confederation. The room fell quiet. All eyes turned to Elias. He sighed, rubbing his face. Handing her over means we're complicit in whatever they'll do to her. And you all know damn well they won't stop at her. The second we prove we'll roll over, they'll keep coming until humanity's crawling on its knees. The medic shifted uneasily. So we fight? Elias straightened, his decision settling like iron. We fight. The others exchanged nervous glances, but no one argued further. Back on the bridge, Syrinx's hologram flickered again. Your silence condemns you, human. I will tear your ship apart and scatter your crew to the void. Then I will cleanse the abomination from your broken hull. The hologram vanished, leaving only the looming shape of the hunter. Elias slid into the pilot's chair, fingers tightening on the controls. The girl appeared in the doorway, pale but standing. She leaned against the frame, her eyes locked on him. You'll die if you face them, she whispered. Maybe, Elias said, not looking away from the screen. But you'll die if I don't. She crossed the cabin, sinking into the co-pilot's chair. Her hand brushed his, a spark leaping through the touch. The ship's console lit up, strange symbols flickering across the screens. Elias jerked his head toward her. What did you just do? Her voice was steady now, clear. I can interface with systems. Hybrid physiology. With you near, I can amplify it. Alone, I'm too weak. Together. She glanced at him, a flicker of a smile ghosting across her lips. We can make this ship dance. On the display, the hunter loomed closer, charging weapons. Elias tightened his harness, every nerve alive. Then let's give them a show. Juno slid into the weapons station, hands flying. Targets locked. Shields primed. The girl closed her eyes, her hand resting on the console beside Elias's. Energy surged through the ship, lights brightening, engines humming with sudden power. The iron Requiem leapt forward, diving into the debris field scattered between drifting husks of ancient ships. The hunter followed, relentless, its cannons firing lances of white fire that lit up the wreckage around them. Elias's hands moved instinctively, dodging through collapsing bulkheads, weaving between shards of twisted metal. Each time he hesitated, the girl's touch guided him, nudging his reflexes sharper, faster, as if their minds were running parallel. Shields at 40%! Juno shouted. Hold together! Elias barked, jaw clenched. The girl's eyes glowed, her voice a whisper in his ear. I won't let them take me. Not while I have you. The hunter unleashed a final barrage, detonating a derelict cruiser just behind them. The explosion tore through space, hurling shrapnel in all directions. Elias pushed the ship into a dive, skimming the wreckage so close the hull screamed. The hunter followed, too close, too aggressive. Its flank scraped a jagged shard, shearing armor. Sparks erupted across its surface. Damage on their starboard! Juno yelled. Elias's mouth curved in a grim smile. Good. Let's make them bleed. The iron Requiem shot deeper into the wreck field, the hunter raging behind them. Inside the cabin, the girl clutched Elias's hand as if it was the only thing keeping her alive. And maybe, Elias thought grimly, it was. The debris field stretched ahead like a graveyard of broken titans. Shattered hulls turned slowly in the void, their jagged edges glowing faintly with ion discharge. The iron Requiem darted between them, engines burning hotter than they had in years. Behind, the Zenari hunter clung to their trail, weapons flashing in relentless bursts. Plasma fire tore through husks of ancient ships, detonating clouds of metal fragments that rattled across the Requiem's hull. "Shields at 20%! Juno shouted over the din. "One more direct hit, and we're scrap." Elias's hands gripped the controls until his knuckles blanched. "Then we don't get hit." The girl, Liara, as she'd finally whispered her name, sat at his side, eyes closed, her hand pressed against the console. Symbols rippled across the displays, merging human code with alien glyphs. The ship responded like it had been reborn, thrusters cutting sharper, sensors piercing deeper into the wreckage ahead. Her voice came steady, though her body trembled. "I can feel them. Every pulse, every weapon charge. I'll guide you through the blind spots." "Then keep talking," Elias muttered, weaving the ship into a spin that shaved past the derelict's jagged spine. The hunter scraped through after them, sparks cascading from its torn armor. On the comms, High Prelate Serix's voice thundered, cold and wrathful. "Human corruption will not escape me. Better to burn this graveyard to dust than let your filth endure." The hunter's cannons flared again, lances of energy slicing across their path. One struck a drifting hulk, igniting its reactor. The explosion tore the wreck apart, sending molten debris tumbling like fire through the dark. "Reactor cascade!" Juno cried. "Hold steady," Elias growled, forcing the ship through the inferno. Molten fragments scorched the hull, but they broke through to open space beyond. The hunter followed, less graceful, its shields buckling under the storm. Liara's grip tightened around his wrist. "Now! Pull left 30 degrees, there's a fracture in the wreck field." Elias obeyed, banking hard. A narrow channel opened between two colossal hulks, their twisted frames forming a tunnel bristling with jagged steel. The Requiem shot inside, thrusters screaming. The hunter dove in after them. "Cap, this is suicide," Juno hissed. "Not if they're dumber than we are," Elias said. Liara's eyes glowed brighter, her voice threading into his thoughts as if her words bypassed sound entirely. "Trust me. Together we can outpace them. Just don't let go." The channel narrowed, forcing Elias to thread the ship through gaps barely wider than the hull. Every movement felt impossible, but with Liara's presence beside him, instinct sharpened. He moved as if the ship were an extension of his own body. Behind, the hunter struggled. Its larger frame scraped the walls, armor tearing away in sparks. Still it pressed forward, cannons firing in blind fury. The tunnel ended abruptly in a fractured maw of wreckage, beyond which hung the twisted core of a collapsed battleship. Its shattered reactor glowed unstable, leaking arcs of violet energy. Liara's voice cut sharp. "Head for the core." "On my mark." Elias blinked. "You're insane." "Do it," she hissed. The Requiem shot toward the reactor. Energy storms lashed across its surface, each arc strong enough to shred the ship in a blink. The hunter slowed, wary, but still advancing. "Mark!" Liara shouted. Elias dove beneath a rising arc of violet lightning, skimming the reactor's edge so close alarm screamed across the cabin. At the last instant, he rolled the ship and punched the thrusters, catapulting them out the far side. The hunter wasn't so lucky. Its bulk caught the full force of the reactor storm. Energy swallowed it in a blossom of violet fire. The explosion tore across the wreck field, shattering hulls and scattering debris into the void. On the Requiem's bridge, silence fell. Only the hum of the engines and the ragged sound of breathing filled the space. Juno sagged against her console, wide-eyed. "Tell me that just happened." "It happened," Elias said, his voice flat with exhaustion. His eyes stayed on the fading glow behind them. The Zenari hunter was gone. Liara slumped back in her seat, trembling with the effort she'd poured into the escape. Her gaze turned to Elias, searching. You risked everything for me. Elias unbuckled, turning toward her. You think I was going to hand you over to that fanatic? He wanted you erased, like you were some malfunction. That's not happening on my ship. Her lips trembled, a flicker of something between gratitude and awe. I thought humans only took, conquered, consumed. But you. She leaned forward, resting her forehead against his shoulder. You protect. Even when it costs you. Elias hesitated, then rested a hand lightly against her back. That's what we do. We hold on. She closed her eyes, exhaling. Then I'll never let go. Juno cleared her throat pointedly. Touching. Really. But in case anyone forgot, we just declared war on the Confederation by saving her. They'll send more hunters. Probably fleets. Elias straightened, the weight of truth settling heavy. I know. He glanced down at Liara. But she's proof. Proof they fear us because we don't break their rules, we rewrite them. And maybe, just maybe, that's humanity's edge. Liara's hand found his, fingers twining as if it were the most natural thing in the world. Her voice was quiet but certain. Together, we'll show them. The iron requiem drifted free of the wreck field, scarred but alive. Behind them, the graveyard burned in violet fire. Ahead, the Orient expanse stretched infinite and dark, filled with enemies waiting and wars yet to come. For now, though, Elias let himself breathe. They had survived. And survival, he knew, was always the first step to victory.